सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमार्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुविष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. I welcome everyone who are in the temple as well as who are seeing this online. Today is 4th June 2025. We are going to study further on our journey to understand Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Why we are studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita? We have to always remember that. Why we are studying it? Are we studying it for getting punya? Punya kamane ke liye? If we say that, actually that will be very selfish too. मैं पुण्य कमाऊं और मैं स्वर्ग में चले जाऊं. मेरे दोस्त, मेरी फैमिली मेरे साथ में नहीं आएगी तो चलेगा. ऐसे स्वर्ग में मजा भी क्या आएगी? That's a social view to this whole thing. Anyway, it is important that we understand what the world is today. If you look at the world today, major wars are going on. Major wars. There are 3 major wars going on, and hundreds and thousands of people are being killed. They are suffering from lack of food, lack of hospital and other medical facilities. Why? Major wars. One of the war has reached to a level where it may enter into a nuclear war. It can vanish hundreds and thousands of people from the surface of the earth in split second. How this can be resolved? How people with different races can live happily together? What kind of thoughts can lead and guide the humanity? The world has seen thousands of wars in the name of patriotism, in the name of religion, in the name of faith. Mine is right, another is wrong. My God is correct, another God is wrong. Other is not a God, only my God is correct. Religious war. Patriotic war. I have to expand the borders of my country. To what extent? How much you want to rule? How much? And what is the answer to that? Will we keep fighting like this forever and ever? You have been already fighting more than 50,000, 100,000 years, who knows? With the known history. There are thousands of years. What thoughts, which thoughts can bring peace and harmony in the world with such a variety is the biggest question as of now. Is the biggest question. Which thoughts can bring harmony, universal brotherhood is the biggest challenge today. It's not the technology. It's not the food or economy or science. It is acceptance of the differences. Which thoughts will allow us to accept the differences? And that is where Srimad Bhagavad Gita is coming in picture. Why? Because it was told right on the battlefield. It is a book which is written on or spoken on the battlefield in the time of crisis by the God. Hence, it is most applicable today because it is a time of crisis today. Major wars are going on. And I wish and I pray that the world doesn't enter into a nuclear war. We have already seen very, very bad impact of those kind of things happening in past. So let us go further on the study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, Shloka 5. I will chant the Shloka and then we will go ahead on studying. Remember, we are not studying only Bhagavad Gita like chanting the Sanskrit Shloka, understanding its meaning. And okay, I have understood. No, not only the verbal meaning, but also applicability in our life. That is what we are looking for. So let me chant the 5th Shloka of 4th chapter. Shri Bhagwan Vacha Bahuni me vyatitani Janmani tavacharjuna Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Natvam Vetta Parantapa. Arjuna asked, when the God told that I have given this knowledge to the son, the God son, and then it has come through Ikshvaku, it has come through Manu. Arjuna is asking, you are in front of me, you are born now. How come you have given this knowledge to somebody in past? You are born now, you are in front of me. And the God is answering this. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna. And we looked at it, this sloka up to half of it. This sloka is the cornerstone in Sanatana Dharma and it is talking about the rebirth. पुनर्जन्म के बारे में बात करते हैं. फर्स्ट टाइम बहुनी में व्यतीतानी. तुम्हारे और मेरे बहुत जन्म हो चुके हैं. योर एंड माइन, there are so many births are already done. But Tanyaham Veda Sarvani, I remember all of them, and Natvam Vetta Parantapa, but you have forgotten. And that is why you are asking me this question. And we were looking at the science of rebirth, the part of science in the rebirth. Not faith, not some kind of a belief, but the science. And we were looking at 3 laws. The law of conservation of energy, the law of karma, and the law of justice. We are looking at these 3 laws. Every human being is having an energy. When we know the law of conservation of energy, when the energy cannot be destroyed, energy just get transferred from one to the other form. We know the conservation of energy. And we know humans are having energy, otherwise how we will be moving. The Chaitanya part in our body. So through the law of conservation of energy, when we die, our energy should not be just dying, but it will be converted, it will be modified, it will take another form. And how it can take another form? And exert itself without a body. It may be any body, it may be an animal, it may be an insect, it may be a fish, it may be a bird, can be anything. But the important part is that the energy cannot be destroyed. And hence, the law of conservation of energy is in alignment with the science of rebirth. That is what we saw. Then the second law which we saw was law of karma. Law of karma is very important. We know whatever we are doing, there is a result, there are consequences. There is cause and effect. Just by, and we took so many examples and the stories also, that just by confessing that, oh, I did something wrong or whatever, can it be pardoned? Can be pardoned. We took the example last time. If there is a thief, he has stolen some goods. There is a bad person who has killed another person. And now in the law, in the court, it is told, it is asked, Have you killed? The person will say, yes. And I repent. I confess. I am sorry. Please pardon me. I was in some wrong mind. I didn't want it to, but because of the situation. आदमी समय की कठपुतली है. There's so many, there are hundreds of arguments like that. If we keep on going, we will not be able to go further in the sloka. So, if a person, in short, in nutshell, will confess, can the judge say that, okay, you have confessed, now you are a good man, so you will not be punished? Can it happen? The person has to go through the punishment, whatever is told by the law, by the penal code. So how come our karma can just be neutralized, nullified, equated, just by confession? Forever. Forever. You do a confession and then you will be forever in the heaven. How that is possible? It is not jiving with the law of karma. And that is why a rebirth is absolutely necessary to jive with, to satisfy, to be in alignment with the law of karma. Then we took the third law, the law of justice. In the same case, if a person is telling, oh, I believe you, I will obey you in future, and I am confessing, what will happen to the injustice which has happened to the person who is killed? What will happen to their family? If the person is pardoned only through the confession, and there are no consequences to the person's action, the justice will not be served. There will always be a grudge and grief in the heart of the person who has gone through the injustice. So, the law of justice is also telling that there should be a rebirth. In the same way, eternal punishment, exactly going by the same thing. Even though you confess or whatever you are doing, there will be eternal punishment. Can it happen? Can a person be punished forever for even a smallest sin or the biggest sin? I am using the word sin here, but it is mainly the word karma there. It's the word karma. For any incorrect karma, can I be in the hell forever? We know parents sometimes, for a disobedient child, give some punishment. Do they give it forever? Here in North America, we tell it grounding. Grounding kar diya. I am grounded. No mobile phone, not going anywhere like that. I don't know much about it. My parents never grounded me, and I never grounded my kids. They were good enough. But grounding, permanently grounding करते हैं क्या? आज के बाद में जिंदगी भर तो मोबाइल यूज नहीं करेगा, ऐसे करते हैं क्या? Do we do that? We don't. So a permanent hell, how is it possible? Where are the chances of improvement to a person? What are the opportunities after committing a mistake? What are the opportunities to grow back, to do the correction? If I am just dead and I am eternally in hell or heaven. So, with the law of justice also, the law of rebirth, the science of rebirth is jiving correctly, and that is where we were talking about. Now, in this sloka, somebody will say, oh, there are so many births. Yeah, I will have another birth. So, this is actually a biggest consolation. It is the biggest consolation for the humankind by the God, that there will be a rebirth, there is a second chance. You will pay for your deeds, but you will have a second chance to improve. You can again come back to me. A father will punish a son to go and sit in the corner for 2 hours. But after 2 hours, you can stand up and come back to me, come back on the dining table and eat with me. That is how the families are run. If the God is our Father, that is how the whole world will be run. You sit in the corner forever is not there in a family. The child will never have an opportunity to improve the learning in the life. Ending of life is not end of actions and its fruits. This is the opportunity, huh? There is a slok going to come, apichetsu duracharo. Even though you are the biggest sinner in the world, you can still come to me. There is an opportunity. If there is no rebirth, there is no opportunity. Imagine a person has done so many bad things in his life and he died. Will he be all the time in the hell? How that can be possible? And that is why the science of rebirth is logical and actual. It is the truth. And second part is the eternality of soul. If we say that there is a soul, some faith, some schools of thoughts are telling there is no soul in animals. There is only soul in humans. Okay, agreed. Even though Sanatana Dharma says ekatmata in everywhere, even in the living and non-living things. But let us talk about only the living things. And that also only humans having the soul. Soul is eternal. And the body is perishable, everybody agrees. So the insignificance of the perishable world, how that can be impacted, or how the rules of the perishable world can be put on an imperishable soul. If I have done a mistake, I am misguided, and I did a mistake, and I did some wrong things in the perishable world, the material world, how that can be a punishment or a reward to a imperishable, which is soul. It can only happen through the rebirth. You come back in a perishable world, you pay for your actions, you get rewards for your actions. So this is the biggest consolation. I can come back. Even though I am the worst person in the world, I can still grow back. I have got next opportunity. If I have failed in one of the paper, I have got opportunity to reappear in the examination. I will study better. This is the biggest consolation. This is also giving a biggest support and strength in the mind of a person. If I die and everything is going to end with me, the person will be so much afraid and frightened throughout the life. Because if a human is to err, a human will always make a mistake. They will always go through the greed or this or that, one or the other thing, they will always go. It is natural. Not only that, the choices and opportunities to each person is different. The selections are different. So they will behave opposite to each other. In such case, if that opposite action is considered as an eternal reward or punishment, there is no rebirth. Then it will be an injustice to a soul which is non-perishable. So it is not only a consolation, it is also for the people who are afraid. This gives an opportunity to grow. Very important factor. Why there is a rebirth? Why? Logical answer. And why it is there to make an impact in the people's life every day. We have got big freedom fighters in India. When they were hanged, they were laughing, they were smiling. They were telling that, yes, no problem, I am dying now, but I will be reborn, I will be taking a birth again. And I will again fight for the freedom of the country. Where does that strength come from? It comes from the science of rebirth. Now here that God also told, Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Natvam Vedha Parantapa. You do not remember and I remember. Why have God made such an arrangement? Where I cannot remember my birth, but God is remembering his birth. Why it is so? And what are the impacts in the society because of that? Why God has made such an arrangement? Number one is peace of mind. If I remember all my previous birth, then my whole mind will be loaded with the revenge for the injustice which has happened to me. I'll be greedy for the ownership. I'll be very greedy for my ownership. पहले जन्म में मैं बड़ा सेठ था और ये सामने वाली कोठी मेरी थी. If you remember your previous birth, you will go and claim for that big house, a big villa, that it was mine in my previous birth. So what will happen to the present owner? How the society will run? It will not give peace of mind to a person. Being in present is only possible when we forget about our previous birth. And there will be stability in the society. If somebody says that, oh, this was my wife and this is my child, and now he is reborn and he is going and claiming, oh, you are my wife, what will happen in the society? Society has to be stable. Once you are done, once you have completed your act, you go out of the stage and you forget about the roles which you played before. That is how it happens. If I remember what I had earned and what I was owner in the last birth, I'll go and claim to the present owner. Also, going in the same point, the ownership of the new generation, how that can be established if we do not forget the previous births. The new birth, new generation, they will own the land, they will own the properties, they will own the money, they will own power, positions. If somebody comes and says that, oh, this is my position or my money, the ownership of the new generation, the next generation will be jeopardized. Their karma, the results of their karma cannot be given. They cannot have the rewards of their hard work. And that is why also we have to forget our previous birth and our ownership of the previous birth. However, it is very important to remember that the karma and its fruits are given in the new body. हमारे जो कर्म हैं, हमारे जो कर्म के फल हैं, वो हमें दूसरे जन्म में मिलेंगे, नए जन्म में मिलेंगे. There are questions which we will be just keeping in aside. We say that in parking lot, we will keep it in parking lot. अगर आत्मा अमर है, we have studied in second chapter, आत्मा न भीगती है, न जलती है, परमानेंट है, तो फिर कर्म किसकी, जवाबदारी किसकी है? आत्मा की है, शरीर की है? शरीर तो नाशवंत है. It's only a material world. Why one material world will have the impact on the other material world when I am reborn? There are so many questions. But we will keep those questions in the parking lot and then we will go further on our slokas. So here the God told that you do not remember, but I am remembering all my births, and we both have taken so many births. This sloka is giving a clear-cut example and indication that there is a rebirth. The God has proved that there is a rebirth, and we also saw through the three laws, the law of conservation of energy, the law of karma and the law of justice, that there should be a rebirth. We'll go further on our sloka number 6. So God is explaining further अजोपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय संभवाम्यात्ममायया. What is the meaning? Ajopi. Ajopi. Ajaha, unborn. Unborn. Although I am unborn, although I am not a perishable material, although I don't take any births, Bhutanam Ishwaropi San, and I live in every object. Even though I don't take any birth, I live in any object. I am Lord of all the living entities, although I am unborn. And I have an imperishable nature, yet I appear in the world by the virtue of Yoga Maya, my divine power. Atma Mayaya. Atma Mayaya. Sambhavatma Atma Mayaya. Even though I am living I am residing in every living creature, I am all living entity, and I am imperishable in nature. I appear in the world. Appear in the world means I take a material shape, a perishable shape, through my divine power. And this is where the question is answered: how a omnipresent God can take a form which is called as an avatar in Sanatana Dharma, in the form of a perishable manifestation. So the question, how can a God die? भगवान मर कैसे सकते हैं? जो अजर अमर हैं वो मर कैसे सकते हैं? And there are so many questions around it. भगवान है तो मरेंगे कैसे? भगवान थे तो भागे क्यों? भगवान छोटे बच्चे हैं फिर बड़े हो गए, तो जो छोटा बच्चा बड़ा होता है तो बड़ा होके बूढ़ा होके मर भी जाएगा. Perishable. How a God can take a form? This is one of the biggest questions asked to the Sanatana Dharma. भगवान जन्म कैसे ले सकते हैं? जब वो सब जगह हैं तो कोई एक जगह में कैसे फोकस कर सकते हैं? वो वहां है तो फिर वहां भी है. भगवान अगर श्री कृष्ण की बॉडी में है तो अर्जुन की बॉडी में भी है और धृतराष्ट्र की बॉडी में भी है. तो फिर कौन किसको मारेगा? अगर भगवान सब जगह है तो लोग बुरे काम क्यों करते हैं? अगर उसके अंदर भगवान है तो उसको रोकता क्यों नहीं है? All these questions are answered through these slokas in chapter 4, Karma Sannyas Yoga Nama Chaturdhodhyaya. So we'll go one by one. First of all, avatar. Why avatar? Why he has to come? Why a omnipresent God has to appear in a form using his Yoga Maya power, connecting with the Prakriti and appear in a form. Let us take a practical example. We have seen kids are playing. बच्चे खेलते हैं, आजकल के नहीं, पुराने जमाने के. आई एम ए ओल्ड मैन. आजकल के बच्चे मोबाइल के ऊपर खेलते हैं, ऐसे ऐसे. पुराने बच्चे साथ में मिलके खेलते थे ग्राउंड के ऊपर. सो बच्चे खेलते हैं. देयर आर किड्स हु आर प्लेइंग. लेट अस प्ले ए ड्रामा. लेट अस प्ले ए ड्रामा. एक लड़का राजा बन जाएगा, दूसरा प्रधान बन जाएगा, 2-3 सिपाही बन जाएंगे. वन विल बिकम ए किंग. देन द कोर्ट विल बी सेट. देयर इज समबडी हु इज ए मिनिस्टर. देयर आर सम सोल्जर्स. देयर आर सम पीजेंट्स. कोई आएगा, दरबार भरेगा, बोल क्या हुआ? दे विल बी प्लेइंग. सो दे फर्स्ट दे मेक द रूल. इफ आई एम ए किंग, आई एम गोइंग टू सिट ऑन दैट स्टोन. इफ यू आर माई प्रधान, अगर तुम मेरा प्रधान है तो मेरी राइट साइड में बैठेगा, नीचे बैठेगा, बिकॉज आई एम ए किंग. यू आर माई मिनिस्टर. दिस ले द रूल्स एंड देन दे प्ले बाय द रूल्स. And while playing, they execute as per their roles. So first they make the rule, and then assignment of the roles to the players. So one time, one person may be king, and if suppose that person is not very good actor, he will fumble, and also the other person will say, हाँ तू राजा अच्छा नहीं है, मैं राजा बन के बताता हूँ. So he will become a king, and the other person will become a minister. वो राजा बनेगा, दूसरा वो मिनिस्टर बन जाएगा, है ना? That is what happens when we are playing dramas. When we are playing. So we know omnipresent is what? Our friendship. This is a play. This is a drama. But we take a form. We take a form of a king. We take a form of a minister. We take a form of a soldier. We can take a form of a villager. When the role is done, the drama is finished, you come back. If you remember that I was a king before, and now I have to work as a soldier, the actings will not be correct. The rule of the drama is that you play your role. When the God will come as an avatar, he has to play a role, because this is perishable world. The role is to be played in a perishable world. So when you play the role, you have to go by the rules. And the rule of perishable is to die. And that is why भगवान dies. अवतार क्यों मर जाते हैं? क्योंकि उनको play by the rule होना पड़ता है. And the rule is defined by God himself. इसलिए भगवान मर जाते हैं. How can a God die? This is how the God dies. इसलिए भगवान मरते हैं. आपके भगवान मर जाते हैं, हमारे भगवान स्वर्ग में ही रहते हैं, मरते नहीं हैं. इसलिए हमारे भगवान ज्यादा पावरफुल हैं. There are so many comments like that. Yeah. And we are dumb. हम बोल नहीं सकते. क्यों? Because we have not studied. This is the opportunity to study. अवतार क्यों है? अवतार क्यों मर जाता है? हमारे भगवान क्यों मर जाते हैं? भगवान है तो मरते क्यों? And this is very important. There are so many chapters opening with this one sloka, this couple of slokas. So another big one is the idol worship. मूर्ति पूजा, आइडल वर्शिप. पत्थर के अंदर भगवान कैसे हैं? हाउ कैन गॉड रिसाइड इन ए स्टोन, इन ए मेटल फॉर्म विच कैन नॉट मूव इट सेल्फ? वो चल भी नहीं सकते उसमें से. ओमनी प्रेजेंट गॉड आइडल के अंदर कैसे आ गए? हियर ऑल्सो वी डू. Idol worship is one of the biggest chapter. You know, we can talk for ages on this, and there can be like books worth 1,000, 5,000 pages on the idol worship. But we have to touch it here because God is telling the manifestation, how a omnipresent can take a form. Idol worship क्या करते हैं हम? What do we do? मूर्ति वाले के पास से मूर्ति लेके आते हैं. The excellent example is Ganapati Puja in Maharashtra, which is done in Maharashtra. We bring the idol. मूर्तिकार के पास से मूर्ति लेके आते हैं. जब मूर्ति लेके आते हैं उसमें गणपति नहीं है. हाँ, मूर्तिकार के पास में जाएंगे, वो बोलेंगे कौन सा गणपति चाहिए. You know, it is so easy to say. They say कौन सा गणपति चाहिए? बड़ा वाला चाहिए, छोटा वाला चाहिए. God is big already. How a God can be smaller or bigger? कौन सा मूर्ति चाहिए? But then what happens when we bring it? May it be temple, may it be home. We do the adhishthanam, प्राण प्रतिष्ठा. हम प्राण प्रतिष्ठा करते हैं. We install the chaitanya in the idol. जब हम बोलते हैं कि इसमें प्राण प्रतिष्ठा हो गई, वो मूर्ति भगवान हो जाती है. A perishable material becomes God. It becomes a live object as God, and it becomes with the qualities and characteristic of a God. हाँ, मूर्ति को कपड़े पहनाते हैं, गहने पहनाते हैं, उनके हाथ में तलवार भाला देते हैं, धनुष देते हैं राम जी के हाथ में. We put valor, बहादुरी, शूरवीरता वो हो जाती है वो मूर्ति के अंदर जो पत्थर की है। लोग पूछते हैं मूर्ति तो डिफेंड भी नहीं कर सकती, उसके हाथ में धनुष देके क्या फायदा, जो हिल भी नहीं सकती, जिसके ऊपर एक चूहा चढ़ेगा तो वो उतार भी नहीं सकती, तो उसके हाथ में धनुष देके फायदा क्या? Hundreds of questions. So last time and before also I told, ask questions, पूछो, जब तक समझोगे नहीं, जब तक रियल आइडल वर्शिप समझेंगे नहीं, and then the effect of it will not be understood. Here is a simple example. You go to the doctor and you tell him, oh I have got some the ear pain, मेरे कान में तकलीफ है, I have got some ear pain, please give me a medicine. So doctor will give you some drops. Put these 3 drops or 2 drops twice in a day in your ear. कान में डालना. But if he didn't understand how to consume the medicine, तो हम तो उसको पानी में घुला के पी जाएंगे. We will drink it. Because we don't know what the medicine is for and how it is to be consumed. If we do not know what is the idol worship, and what are the impacts and how to do the actual idol worship, it will not give the results to us. It will not improve ourselves. इसलिए मंदिर के बाहर जाके वही के वही रह जाएंगे हम वही के वही रह जाएंगे. There will be no improvements in us, and so in the society. If we don't understand what is the real idol worship, what is the true way of idol worship? And hence we say that there is a God in the idol and the idol is the God. मूर्ति के अंदर भगवान है और मूर्ति खुद भगवान है. That is what we say in idol worship. Why do we say? And so here we have to touch on some points which are the reason for the present day problems in the world. इतने सारे वर्ल्ड में प्रॉब्लम्स किसकी वजह से है, उसका रूट कॉज क्या है? We call it as RCA, root cause analysis. So there are three ways how people think. One is everybody says that God is there. सब कहते हैं कि भगवान है, कोई ये नहीं कहता कि भगवान नहीं है. There are some people who say that because they are not convinced with the thought. It is not. They say कोई बड़ी शक्ति होती है, प्रकृति होती है, nature है. They give different names, but they agree that there is an order in the world. So the number one, the idol worship is nothing but the theory of Sagun Sakar. The God can take a shape, and the God that shape can possess the qualities. This is Sagun Sakar. The Chaitanya takes a physical shape and executes the quality, and that is avatar, incarnation of the God. And this is where all our Puranas are coming in picture. हमारे पुराण हैं, पुराण एंड अवतार. भगवान का जन्म हो गया, कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय. यहाँ गोकुलाष्टमी आ गई, चलो कृष्ण जन्म मनाएंगे, हैप्पी बर्थडे टू द गॉड. हम कहते हैं सगुण साकार. और फिर उसने बहुत सारे काम किए, कंस को मारा, ये किया वो किया, अवतार. He has got the qualities. Think about it. कृष्ण भगवान बहुत काम करते रहेंगे तो क्या उसको पसीना नहीं आता रहेगा? Because he is a body. वो जब गाय चराने जाते हैं, when he goes in the farms with the cows, उनके पैर में will he not get soiled with the sand and all those things on the road? Perishable. Sagun Sakar. That is why there are idol worship and the temples with the deities. Once these qualities are established, by doing proper Murti Puja and concentration, those qualities can come into us. Why? Because a human is learning by nature by copying. मनुष्य कॉपी करके, देखकर, समझकर उठाता है. Simple example. Suppose there is a person, there is a boy, young boy, 16-year-old boy. He wants to become a boxer. What kind of pictures does he keep in his room? Boxer's picture. कुश्तीबाज के फोटोज लगाते हैं. उसके जैसे मसल्स वो मिरर में देखते हैं, मेरा हुआ क्या नहीं, आई डेवलप सिमिलर मसल्स और नॉट. उसके लिए वो आइडल है. Girls can keep the picture of a dancer or a heroine or somebody other one. Anything which they think this is something achieved or achievable, and this person is a reference. That is why we keep the pictures of them. We keep their pictures. What is that? We may not be worshipping it, but we need a reference. Without a reference to learn is extremely difficult. There is already a sloka in 12th chapter. Gate dukkham, ati dukkham. It is very difficult to imagine something with qualities if it doesn't have a shade for a human being. It is easiest as a human's natural method of learning by observation and copying. And we have to also remember that there is a risk in it. Just like every coin has got two sides, there is a risk in it. And what is the risk? That people become inactive. Avatar, Sagun Sakar is having lot of other impacts, which we have to be careful. Suppose we buy a knife in the kitchen to cut the vegetables and make our food and everything. We have to also be sure that it doesn't cut our finger. That doesn't mean knife is wrong, but we have to understand how the tool to be used. And same way is the idol worship. मूर्ति पूजा सही तरीके से समझनी पड़ेगी, नहीं तो वो कर्म कांड हो जाएगा. It will become a कर्म कांड. What is the difference between मूर्ति पूजा and कर्म कांड? मूर्ति की पूजा करने के समय वो पूजा कैसे रहेगी और कर्म कांड कैसे रहेगा? Because action is seen exactly same. वही मूर्ति को पंचामृत स्नान कराते हैं. पयोदक स्नानम समर्पयामि, शुद्धोदक स्नानम समर्पयामि. बहुत सारे श्लोक बोलते हैं पंडित जी, सुनना ध्यान से. गंधोदक स्नानम समर्पयामि, गंधोदक स्नानांते शुद्धोदक स्नानम समर्पयामि. एवरीथिंग, सो मेनी गार्लैंड चढ़ाते हैं, पुष्प चढ़ाते हैं, फल करते हैं. We do that. That is part of idol worship also, or it is part of idol worship. But if we don't understand, तो भी वो पत्थर के ऊपर फूल ही रह जाएगा. That is a risk. People become inactive and dependent. So many, these are all bullet points. People inactive हो जाते हैं. हाँ, राम जी आएंगे और भला करेंगे, मेरे राम आएंगे, पहले आए थे अभी भी आएंगे. Blind faith. Invaders came and looted the temple of Somnath, not once, multiple times. Multiple times. Did Shankar Bhagwan come out of the Shivling in Somnath? No. If we don't understand the real meaning of the Murti Puja, it will become Karma Kand. It will make us inactive. We become dependent. अवतार आएगा और सब ठीक कर देगा. अवतार आएगा और सब ठीक करेगा. तुम क्या करोगे? हम सिर्फ भजन गाएंगे. Inactiveness with the incorrect Murti Puja, Karmakand, dependency, blind faith, and ritualistic. These are the problems if we do not understand the real Murti Puja, the real idol worship. And that is what is Sagun Sakar. And now, next time when we come, it's already 6:45 going to be. Next time we will come and we'll study about Nirgun Nirakar. The Chaitanya is omnipresent and it doesn't execute any qualities. That is Nirgun Nirakar. And the third school is Sagun Nirakar. The Chaitanya has got qualities, but it doesn't have a shape. And we will think about these two schools of thoughts. Remember why we are thinking about this? Because the present day problem, the present day wars which are happening in the world is because of this difference in thinking. और कोई झगड़ा नहीं है, हमारा ही भगवान सच्चा है, ये झगड़ा है. Since thousands of years, and we have killed millions of people only on that argument, whose God is right. So we have to understand. So when we come next time again, 6 to 6:45, like every Wednesday, we'll study further on the 6th sloka of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter. Till then, I wish everyone a very nice and happy week and the weekend ahead. Vasudevasutam devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah.